Hi there, my name is Tim Dreher. The following exercises are good if you have a herniated disc, a bulging disc. You're probably somebody who's a little bit younger and very suddenly you had a low back pain. Perhaps you were bending over and you came up too quickly, or you lifted something too heavy. You felt a very sharp, immediate pain. This is not something that's been building over weeks. It was a very specific incident. You are the kind of person that when you have your pain, it's because you've been rounded over, or especially if you've been sitting too long. That's what typically gives you your pain. However, if you're lying down, standing, or walking, you don't have a lot of pain. Your physical therapist would have also gone through a series of tests with you and probably found that extending your back was okay, but rounding caused you pain. Specifically at the halfway point, you probably had pain. You might also have pain if you were to go to one side as well, but that's something that your therapist would evaluate. So to go through these exercises, what we do is come lie down on the bed. You're on your belly. Maybe you've got your knees bent up with a pillow underneath the ankles. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to start very low. Your hands are underneath you, and you'll raise up maybe about 1 or 2 inches, and then down. We're going to do this 10 to 15 times. The arms are doing all the work. Your buttocks are completely relaxed. Your back is staying on the bed. The only thing that's raising up is your chest. As you start to limber up, maybe you can start to go a little bit higher. At no point should you have pain. If you have a consistent pain on one side, your therapist will have told you which directions to shift your hips. So for instance, if your pain was on your right, they probably had you take your hips, shift them up and over to the right, and then you continued. And that was if the therapist said to shift your hips to the right. If, however, it's difficult for you to shift your hips, what you could do instead is take your shoulders and shift those over to the left and bring your feet to the left, and that's the same thing as shifting your hips. So if it's too painful to move your hips to one side, you could just move your shoulders and your feet. Once you've made the shift, you should have less pain in that area. If not, tell your therapist, and we maybe have to do a couple other things. Once you've been down and you've done your 15 times, that is when physical therapy gets in. They did a wonderful research study recently. They took a person with a herniated disc, they did an MRI, found the disc was herniated, they then had the patient do the 15 times up and down, and then the therapist goes in and we find the bone that is rotated and out of alignment, and we work that bone for 30 seconds, as well as the bones above and below for 30 seconds. The person then goes back and does another round of press-ups. We do 3 sets of that, and in the study they had the person take another MRI directly afterward, and they actually showed the herniated disc coming back into position, getting out of the bulging position where it was pinching on the nerve, and actually started to go back to normal. So this sequence of pressing up with the therapist pressing into the spine, that sequence is great. However, on your own, it is recommended that at least 5 to 6 times a day you just lie down and do the press-ups 10 to 15 times. Now, if it's difficult to be able to do this lying down during the day, you could cheat it a little bit and instead do it sitting. So if you're at your desk and your back is starting to hurt, you'll just extend and back to normal. So again, it's that idea of 15 times, and it can be done sitting, or it can also be done standing, where you just put your hand in your back and extend up 15 times. The same thing if you have that pain, you can shift the hip away and do the same extension as well to do that same exercise. Remember, with a herniated disc, sitting is the worst thing for you. You should sit for no more than 20 minutes, and if you do, make sure that you have a really good back support, maybe even more support than you think is even natural. Definitely avoid sitting though, that's probably your biggest culprit. The second culprit would be anything that has you rounded. So if you're washing dishes, folding laundry, anything that has you rounded, that's going to aggravate your back even more. So make sure that you try to either do things standing or lying down as much as possible. If you have any questions or would like a therapist to look closer at your back, don't hesitate to give us a call. Thank you.